Hey everybody, thanks for dropping by for a visit, and I'm having a ugh moment. Sometimes collecting is really hard. If it's spoons, you want the best spoon. If it's buttons, you want just the right button. And if it's figures, you want the best representation for your tastes. Case in point, we're going to start today with the Bruticus series, and we have FoC Cybertron Deluxe Class Swindle, and we have Combiner Wars Deluxe Class Swindle, who I have touched up with some paint apps. I'm also going to touch on the Unite Warriors version, though I don't have that figure here. So stick around, we're going to get started on our next series, which is going to be a bit of a comparison series, and we're going to have a look at these two guys coming up and see which Swindle will give you the best deal. Okay, welcome back to the channel. This is Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. Please, like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out across social media. We just finished the latest Machinery of Man contest, but please check out that work and check out the Everything Factor. I always appreciate it. And I just kind of complained there at the beginning that sometimes collecting is hard, and boy oh boy, do these guys prove it. Let's get a couple things out of the way right off the hop. There are several third-party companies who have, provided to us a Bruticus, and those companies are, after doing some really great jobs, Cybertron being perhaps one of the favorites of a lot of people. Again, third-party route, you can't compare it to these guys. Third-party route, much more expensive, and you expect that higher quality. So we're going to look at, kind of these retail releases that came out, and what Bruticus suits your taste. We're going to start off with Swindle here first. And we have the FoC Cybertron Swindle up first. And it's not really a bad figure. We're going to, grade both of these guys on paint apps, posability, playability, and of course transformation, like we always do when you stop by for a visit. And okay, so the posability, playability for this guy. He rolls great in vehicle mode. In this mode, the arms can go around 360. They go out about that far, not an excellent outward motion. There is a bicep swivel, really because of the ball joint that's here. Nice deep knee bend and no wrist articulation. There is a waist swivel on him. The head goes down very slight and up very slight, but that's really because of transformation, and it can go side to side. Thigh swivel, super deep knee bend, beautiful deep knee bend. A lot of people complain about this hollow back, and it is pretty hollow. I'm not going to disagree with you, but it really never bothered me because, I don't tend to display them this way. If I'm going to display them in bot mode, it's going to be this way. If it's going to be vehicle mode, it's going to be vehicle mode. The weapon storage is terrible for robot mode. You can put it up here if you don't want it in his hand, but that's really the storage for vehicle mode, and it works better in vehicle mode. So honestly, posability, playability for this guy, just as a Swindle, I'm going to give it a 10. He has great posability, playability. I have no problems with that. Paint apps, I kind of like the yellow, and though it's not really coming off on camera, it comes off really bright, I kind of like the purple. It's not completely accurate, but you're going to know it's Swindle. I am a little bit disappointed that the face is black. It would have been nice if that was differentiated a little bit, but the head is kind of swindly. So for paint apps, I'm going to give this guy, I'm going to give him an 8. I'm going to give him an 8. He's pretty good. He's not perfect, but he's pretty good for paint apps, to be honest with you. A little bit of a departure, but I can live with it. So I'm going to give him an 8 just because I like it. Then we get into transformation. We'll deal with transformation by looking at both of these guys at the same time. So I'll lay that aside for now. So what grade do we have for this guy right now? A 9. He's a really good Swindle. We have paint apps and at an 8, and we have posability, playability at a 10. Really good Swindle. Then we come to the more recent version of Swindle. This is the Combiner Wars version of this guy. And the Unite Warriors version, exact same mold, except there's silver right across the chest, which I guess is supposed to mimic the windshield going across his chest. The lower part of the combiner peg and the lower part of the body is purple on that guy. And I think his hands are silver as well. Obviously going for a more cartoon accurate look. So if you're going for a cartoon accurate look, the Takara Tomy Unite Warriors version of Swindle is a 10. Actually, that's a lie. It's not a 10. It's a 9.5. The Hasbro version that came out in Combiner Wars is accurate, it seems, to the toy version, which is a 10. If you look at the original toy and look at this, it was a 10. I wanted something in between. I really didn't want to pay the premium for the Unite Warriors version when I know that I'm still going to have to do some custom paint work on it. So I got this version, and I added silver down here. I added silver on his face. His face was still black like the other one. So I added silver on his face, and I love that head sculpt. It is extremely swindly. And I painted his fists black. I was going to do the hand-foot piece in a yellow ochre. By the way, if you're looking for an acrylic paint that will match this, yellow ochre seems to be a great match for it. But I didn't do it, at least not yet, because I haven't found a match for that god-awful color used on Brawl. But we'll get into that in the Brawl video. So paint apps for this guy, for me now, 9.5. And for you know, just the regular retail release, it would probably be a 9. So, you know, regular retail release of Combiner Wars, a 9. Unless you're going for toy accuracy, then it's a 10. The Unite Warriors, that would be you know, a 9.5. And with the changes I made here to make him more animation accurate, he's about a 9.5. That's a whole bunch of numbers thrown out to you. So let's get into the posability, playability, and then I'll summarize that up before we get into the transformation. The head goes left and right, and it can look up and it can look down a little bit. The arms, they still go all the way around. There is a bicep swivel. You can put you know, an elbow bend of about 90 degrees there. Still no wrist articulation. Legs go way out to the side. By the way, I forgot to show it with this guy, but his legs, you know, also go way out to the side. You know, there's a thigh rotation, and there is a nice knee bend. Some people have complained about the hollowness in here. I don't mind it. This is based off of the Rook mold, and truth be known, that was a fantastic mold, fantastic figure. So is this. I use this figure as a comparison with Classics Hound when I done that review, because this mold was used again for Hound. I think it was an excellent choice for Hound. A little bit of a departure for the look. He'll look a little more hench, a little more bulky as Hound. He looks more bulky as Swindle, but I think it works, and I think it came out really nice. Posability, playability for this guy, like this guy, a 10. So overall, this guy was a 9. So far overall, this guy is about a 9.75. He's just a little bit ahead. So let's get into the transformation. We can do both of these guys as arms, both of these guys as legs, and both of these guys as vehicles. So since they came in robot mode, we will go from that first. And we will do arm mode first. Arm mode for this version of Swindle. Though I don't think anybody is ever going to use the arm mode for Swindle. Nevertheless, we will look at it. The hands, or the pieces of the hands, are in behind the legs. And you can, you know, flip them out. Now you'll notice there's 2 complete hands, because it depends if you want him to be a left arm or a right arm. You know, you'll decide which hand you want out. We will just put that piece up now, and we will snap his legs together. That's the biggest part really kind of done, to be honest with you. And can you fold those down? I guess if you wanted to, you could also fold those in, or you could leave them out. It really kind of doesn't matter at this juncture. Next, you want to unpeg his chest piece, and there are two little pegs up right here, and they go into slots right here. So you bring that up, and you flip the head. Is it down? Down like that. Why is it that you bring that up? Because you need to get the combiner piece out for this guy, and that can be a little bit challenging. There you go. You start to bring that out like so, and you bring this down over his back, and you can turn it around like this if you are so inclined. These arm pieces here, you bring those down and into the body, and you bring those down and into the body, kind of like so. And this is basically the arm mode that you end up with. I don't have everything pegged in. There are pegs here on the arms. These pegs on the arms should go into slots on the legs. I'm not worrying about putting that in there now, because it doesn't, for our purposes, it does not need to be perfect. It looks okay. Actually, let's bring down this hand, just so we're dealing with the arm that I have made here. It looks okay, except he's not really going to be able to bend his arm unless you turn him at the waist and give him an arm bend like this, in which case he has the gorilla hand. Does he succeed as an arm? Not really, but who's using him as an arm anyway? So we will fold that back up. His arm mode, not a great transformation. His arm mode, well, let's have a look. By the way, this one also wins a little bit because you can take his gun and put it in his arm on the side here. It's not perfect for the cannon that was on his arm in the animation, but I think it works pretty good. So we take that out, and we take his hand foot piece out, just to make life easy on ourselves. We'll turn his head around, and we will flip it up, and we will flip out the combiner port. We will tab the legs together and turn them to the side, and we will bring this arm back and down, and we will bring this arm back and down like so, and bring that over them. Then you take the hand foot piece, you pop out the fingers, you put this around, and boom, there you go. You have him as an arm, and the hand is a more natural pose, and it bends up very nicely, and the port is very nice. You'll notice the port is quite different on these. This port sticks over a protrusion. This port, of course, slots down to a protrusion on the main body of the figure. Actually, I suppose I should turn it this way, since that's the arm I have made. Much better arm, much easier transformation, much more solid. So we will take that out and put him in vehicle mode. And same with him. We're going to put him in vehicle mode. The advantage here is that the hand is built in. That's a nice feature. Going from arm mode to vehicle mode. Not very hard for either of them, actually. But I think you're going to see who wins this round pretty quickly. Let's look at this guy first. He's still kind of a floppy, ugly mess. And when you put this guy in vehicle mode, of course you need to have both hands flipped up. These toe pieces, you flip them down as like a back bumper. You take this piece and spin it around. You take this piece and you spin it around, just like so. You take these pieces on his arm and you spin those around, just like that, and you spin this one around like that. Now, this is when things kind of fall apart with this guy. Oh, and we can stick the combiner peg back in. You have a peg up right here, and it goes into a slot right there on the hip. I don't even know if you can see it. It does not stay in well, or at least it never has on my version of the figure. I find a lot of times what I have to do is let's kind of set ourselves up here as properly as we can first. You also have two little pegs up here, and they go into little slots down in here. Now, you'll notice there are little slots on top and little slots on bottom. One is used for vehicle mode, one is used for his leg mode. I believe the ones on top are the ones used for vehicle mode. Yeah, the ones on top are the ones used for vehicle mode. So you do that, and then you should be able to, hopefully, get the hand in underneath and put that peg into the slot on the hip, and same over here, you should be able to put that hand up underneath. And if you're very, very lucky, which I don't think I'm going to be, but if you're very, very lucky, you should be able to get that hand into the slot on the leg again. And then, last but not least, you take the gun, you plug that in on top, and boom, here's Swindle in his, oh, and I guess you flip down his, maybe you can't flip those down. Here's Swindle in his space ATV mode. It's certainly not a Jeep like we remember, you know, in the glory days of G1, but it's something that rolls. It's kind of fiddly. You know, right there you go. You saw that I just had to put a piece in. You saw I just had to stick the hand back in, and you even see down here, it is not pegged in on this side like it is on this side. As long as it doesn't really move, whatever, I'm okay with it. As long as it doesn't really move. It's an okay transformation, but he doesn't tab together as solidly as I would like. So then we come to this guy, who we currently have as an arm as well. And we flip down the combiner peg. We leave the arms twisted in behind on this hinge right here. This hinge right here. They stay on top where they are. We split the legs and turn the entire waist assembly around, so now the backs of the legs are facing toward the top. Then we come to deal with the legs. Now, I just want to point something out. In robot mode, you will notice that right here you have two teeth and another tooth notched up in it. And same on the back right here. You need to, when you put this in robot mode, you need to make sure that all of those teeth interlock. In vehicle mode, you unpeg those teeth. You unpeg the teeth from over here, and you bring the whole piece of the Jeep up, you bring the whole piece of the Jeep up, and you snap the legs together again. His feet that were down here, you just take them and should be able to just bring them up around the front. There you go. Up around the front. Now unpeg and bring it up around the front like so. And last but not least, this backpack piece, you bring it all the way down, and when you bring it down, there are, I guess I'll point this out, there are two tabs right here and right here and right here, and they go into a couple of holes right here and right here. You know that you have this figure together when those pegs lock into those holes, like so, and the front is down flush. You can take his gun, and there's, you know, you can use the handle of it and stick it back here, no problem. But there is a hole right there, and there's also a hole on the combiner hand. What I like to do personally, is take the combiner hand, and again, you could peg it in like this, and that looks silly, so don't do it. But I like to take the hole that's there in the combiner hand, put it over right there as his gun for the front, and then I like to take this one, and because there's a peg up right here on top, and there's a port on the gun, I like to put that gun right up on top. It kind of makes for a massive looking gun on the top of Swindle, but for a military-esque Jeep, I can buy it. And he rolls great, and he stays, you know, stuck together great. Alright, let's do our last mode, and that's going to be foot mode. For Swindle, we just took his gun off and the hand-foot piece off. These two pieces in the front here come back down around and snap in the back. The hand-foot piece goes on right there like that, and his combiner peg flips up like so. And if you want to store this gun out of the way, I suggest using the peg right here in the center and bringing it up. If you have the Unite Warriors version, pretty much he looks the same, except the roll bar is I think more of a silvery color and the hood is a purpley color. Besides that, he's pretty much the same as this guy, and boom, that is a fantastic leg for a Bruticus. His transformation, honestly, the whole thing is so easy. Everything about it is easy. His transformation's a 10. So overall, you know, he's about a 9.9. He is a fantastic figure. I really enjoy Swindle from Combiner Wars. This guy's been operating at a 9. Let's see what happens with his final piece of transformation. Well, you flip the back pieces up here. They were flipped down, and they were a bumper. And you have to get that combiner peg out again, which means you need to untab, I guess I'll take that gun off for now. You need to untab the front of the vehicle. Flip out the combiner peg, which is tight. You can hear it clicking there. And now we need to put the two tabs that were here into the lower slots that were here. Much more of a challenge to get them in there usually. But I got it done. Look at that. That one popped out again. Can I get it in? I can't even get that back in the slot now. But at the end, what I do like about this is when you bend it, there's a hinge in here that moves with the leg. I kind of thought that was really cool. If you don't want these stuck out, you can always bend them back. It makes no difference. This guy does not. Again, he kind of came apart a little bit there. The gun would actually combine with all the other guns. You can't really stick it back in here, it won't work, but it combines with all of the other guns to become a big gun for Bruticus. There's the other Bruticus leg. His transformation, about a 7. About a 7. There are too many fiddly pieces with it. The tabs don't quite lock in. At the end, if you're going for a FoC Cybertron look, this is a great leg. His overall score, even with the 7 for transformation, because he was operating at 9, he's still an 8. This guy, however, is pretty close on perfect. Whether you get the Combiner Wars version, or the Unite Warriors version, or you do what I did and add a little bit of paint. You'll notice I didn't add any extra paint apps in vehicle mode because I love the look of the vehicle mode. Even the detail of the saddlebags here on the side. Some people might like that painted. I'm okay with it the way it is. I like the gunmetal gray that was used up here. I'm a bigger fan of this guy. I have to be honest. I liked the FoC Cybertron figures, the FoC Cybertron Bruticus, and I was okay with that as my Bruticus until I finally got my hands on this guy. Winner in round 1 of, FoC Cybertron versus Combiner Wars / Unite Warriors / Custom Combiner Wars. The winner is, and the better deal is, this guy. Anyway, that is part 1 down. Thanks for watching, and I guess I will see you the next time we have a visit inside the videos for part 2 of our Bruticus? Bruticus? Is that the plural for Bruticus? Brutici? That's what we'll call it, the Bruticus series. Until next time, folks, take care.